I'm Dave Fiore, the founder and CEO of Fiore Communications, and this is a special update episode of How I Got Here. At the end of each episode, I ask every guest the same question. Where do you think here will be for you in 3 to 5 years? Well, it's been 5 years, so I thought it'd be a perfect time to check in and see how things are going. Today, I'm pleased to have How I Got Here guest number 6, Drew McLeod. Hi, Drew.
Hey, Dave.
Thanks for being here. Can you believe it's been 5 years since we recorded that first episode?
No, we were just talking about that. It just seems surreal.
Yeah. I'm going to play back your answer from 2019 on where you thought you might be today, and then we can talk about it. All right?
Sounds good.
Okay, here we go.
I hope that I have an opportunity to tell this story to a lot more people. This is a great first step. I did not expect this. But I've always been intrigued by, public speaking. And I've started to kind of dip my big toe in the water, so to speak, doing some events for others, talking about leadership with purpose, talking about culture shock, talking about my life experiences and how they can be applied to not just the hospitality industry or food and beverage or hotels, but to any organization. Really,
right. Well, the principles apply no matter what you're doing.
They really do. And so for me, in 3 to 5 years, I would think that there may be some other food and beverage operations. But at the same time, I'm hoping that, maybe giving back in terms of some public speaking opportunities and consulting. At the heart, consulting is one of the things that I've already taken on new clients locally, looking at some out of town. But, that's probably what I'll continue to do is to consult, to share my life experiences so that others can benefit from it.
Right.
Not make the same mistakes I made. And I made a lot.
What are your first thoughts?
Well, life happens. And a lot of that is still a part of what I expect to be doing in the near future. I think what happened in the last 5 years was that my wife and I and our son Gabriel decided to open another food and beverage operation, and that took a lot of our time to do so. But in the interim, I did have the opportunity to talk to some folks about my passion for the hospitality industry and the ability to help them improve their business operations, and we've seen some success for that. But at the same time, Savor was just kind of hitting its stride in 2019. We were only a year old at the time. And since then, it's exploded. I mean, it's become a very, very successful operation thanks to my team and the efforts that my wife and my boys have made. So, that takes time away from sometimes pursuing the other things that interest you. And so that's where we've been. We were able to open up Sliders, and that was a very rewarding opportunity for Kim and I to work in growing our son into the young man that he's become and the business mind that he has. So for us, it was kind of an interesting journey, but there were some side trips to that. I'm still looking forward to when I slow down a little bit to doing a bit more of the public speaking and consulting.
Yeah. So you mentioned it a little bit, but Savor continues to be incredibly successful. So is that what takes up most of your time today, or how does your life look on a business side? How does it look different than it did 5 years ago?
It has been unbelievably successful. We've learned, I think, in this process that there's as much need to train our guests and to take care of our team than I've probably ever experienced. I put them first. We have limited our hours to 22 hours a week, 25 hours a week when we're in committees or session, only because of the need to provide a happy hour for some of the lobbyists that are kicking out of the Capitol early. Right. And so for us, we've won a lot of awards, Diner's Choice Award, Open Table, #1 in Northwest Florida, top 100 in the United States by Open Table. Our executive chef, Brian Nepper, was top 3 chefs in the state of Florida. So we've continued to make our mark. But that doesn't happen accidentally. And we always tell ourselves we're only as good as our last meal. And quite honestly, we're humbled by the awards. And sometimes I don't even want them to believe it, our staff or otherwise, because we got to stay focused on what's important. And that's every single day. So my day starts early because I'm prepping for each and every guest that walks through the door. We set the tables for individual parties and specific parties. We know your name. We know your preferences. We do our best to engage them. Kim or I are at the front door nearly every night. And by receiving the guests and demonstrating by example the value of owner-operator, I think it makes a difference when it comes to the experience, because we can fix problems in the moment. We make mistakes. We are imperfect to begin with.
Sure.
And so our opportunities to kind of fix them on the fly, being very aware, we're small, we're 80 seats and it's, when we're, full, but we just are very, very engaged with the guests and care about their dining experience.
Yeah.
And so we have to be there.
Yeah. What's been the biggest surprise for you over the last 5 years?
Well, probably the success of Savor. I mean, I think that everybody has dreams of successes, and we've had a few, and Paradise was certainly one of those. But, this has become such a passion for us and a love for us. And as I'm getting older, I'm thinking about what's my exit strategy, not so much as, and people have asked me, could you duplicate this? Could you do another one on the north side? I'm like, no, you can't.
Drew, what do you think you have learned most about yourself over the last 5 years?
I think that I've learned that I've got to value people and put them ahead of myself. And I think that's part of my faith, right? I mean, that's what we're called to do. But I think the beautiful thing is that I've been able to grow in my marriage with my wife because we're working together every single day. We're making decisions together. I've had partners, as you know, in previous businesses for years and years and years. And some of those I was unequally yoked with to begin with, which is fine business-wise. But for Kim and I to be able to work together in the way that we do, we complement each other.
And that was one of the goals, right? You were the late nights, the scene that you had on the weekends, and you said, I want to do something where I can spend time with my wife and do this together.
Absolutely. But originally, Savor represented, I knew it was a dinner-only business. I knew that I wasn't going to be doing lunch and brunch and 7 days a week and those kinds of things. So I knew instantly when we were developing the concept of Savor that it was going to be a nighttime thing. And the only way it would divide the family, technically, and until we realized that the boys could get involved. And they've done an amazing job, unbelievable, really. And the fact that Kim and I could work together in the evenings, it was better. It wasn't like I was going to work and I'll see you tomorrow. And quite honestly, Brian Nepper, whom I love and did an unbelievable job with his culinary talents, came to me in probably April of last year and said, this has been great. I love this. And I had made him a partner, but I'm not getting the time that I need with my wife. She's a lobbyist or works for a lobbying group. And quite honestly, they were passing like ships in the night. So when he said, I think I need to pursue something else, I was like, I get it. Because had it not been for the fact that Kim and I were working together, this never would have worked out in the first place.
Do you want to take a stab at maybe where you might be in another 5 years from now?
Well, I think that I've got to consider, what it looks like to pass the baton again. I'm not sure if Gabriel has an interest in taking over completely Savor in time. He's certainly well-rounded enough to do it. He has been more back of the house, accounting, HR, and that kind of thing, which he does with excellence. We've now brought him out onto the floor, so he's serving and waiting tables and learning more about the bar.
Yeah.
Which he has to have that full scope of understanding in order to kind of take it. We've got 10 more years on the lease and basically can stay as long as I choose to. We'll see. My hope is that if he has an interest that we'll pass the baton. If he doesn't, maybe we sell it and, I'll focus on the public speaking and consulting work that I thought I was going to start, 6 years ago.
Thanks, Drew, for giving us an update and for sharing your ongoing journey with us. It is always great to see you. To our audience, if you have not already, I encourage you to listen to Drew's original episode. It will put some context to this conversation and add some additional insight into his journey. You can listen right here or at fiorecommunications.com. Thanks for listening to this podcast and connecting with your community. We'll see you next time.